Thank you for joining me today. So, could you state your name and occupation, please?
Sure. My name is Steve Horowitz, and I'm the president of a company called Ziff Davis.
All right. And how big would you say your company is?
Well, my division, Ziff Davis, is part of a larger company called J2 Communications. My group is probably around 1,700 people spread across offices in New York, San Francisco, LA, Chicago, Austin, London, Sydney, and a bunch of others. So pretty spread out, and everyone is, in the internet space in one form or the other, whether it's a brand like IGN.com, if you're into gaming, or Mashable, or those are some of the more well-known brands, or if you've ever tried to test your Wi-Fi at home with an app called speedtest.net, which has actually been downloaded 300 million times, that's a different type of business. So we're all spread out, but very much centered around internet-related businesses.
Of those, of the spread out companies, how many people would you say, you would specifically manage?
So I have about 7 or 8 direct reports, and of those, I have 5 general managers that run 5 different business units that report up to me. And one of those business units actually has a call center in India and one in the Philippines, so I'd actually only count those folks in terms of the employees. But in India, which I'm going to go to visit that office a week after next, we have about 900 people there, and then in the Philippines we have another 200. So that's managing some call center stuff for our business.
Well, very interesting. What would you say is the most challenging thing about managing people?
Everyone's got, what we try and do is allow all of our businesses to be individual in nature. So, we favor for lack of a better term, let the states run themselves as much as possible. So what that does sometimes, that really creates unique needs and challenges for each of the business. Their businesses are different, their locations are different, and I let them have a level of independence rather than stress a large amount of common uniformity across all of them. So it puts a little bit more stress on me in terms of how I manage and what hat I need to wear, but it ultimately ends up being a more, I would say, a more rewarding job for the general managers and the people that work underneath them.
So that kind of answers my next question about your leadership style. It seems like you're very laissez-faire with your management.
Yeah, yes and no. So it can be a little bit, because I'm very much, I joke around a lot and I kid around a lot, because we do have to remember we're not doctors, and we're not solving, hardcore or, medical issues and things like that. But also I have a responsibility to our shareholders, I have a responsibility to our users and customers, and also have a responsibility to make sure that everyone has a good job, a good salary, and that we hire more people. And so I am very serious at times, and sometimes that could be a conflict for people as they're starting to get me, know me, and trying to understand, well, is he this funny, jovial guy, or is he a very serious guy? I'm both. The analogy I kind of use is, it reminds me when I used to play rugby. You'd play rugby and you'd kind of beat each other up during the game, but after the game, you'd go hang out with the other team, and I view it that way as well. There's plenty of time for play, and there's also time to be very serious.
You said that sometimes you would disagree with your employees, but if you do disagree with them, how would you get them back on your side to see your point of view?
So I think a lot of times it's also good, to start from when possible you want people for it to be their idea, and even if it isn't, there are times where you want them to believe it's their idea. So that way you're not necessarily bringing them over onto your side, but inherently they just felt that you were on the same side. But listen, I don't treat things as it's my way or the highway. I'm very open to spirited conversation and spirited debate. That's very much fact based, and if I'm wrong, got to be open to your people and managers feeling like they have the ability to present their case. What people sometimes have a problem with is when you get into a spirited debate, and if they don't win it, they don't know how to just sort of take it and move on. And that sometimes is a challenge for people. So you also have to understand who you're working with, and also make sure people understand just as much how to sort of lose a point or an argument as well as win a point in an argument, because you're going to get both.
Oh, wow. You are very high up, like you're a president of a big company, but where did you like go to school, and how did your education prepare you to take on this management role?
So I went to state school in New York, SUNY Oswego, upstate, right in Ontario, just past Syracuse. I was actually an English major in college, believe it or not. And, actually not that great in my 100 level finance classes. Now I do our budgets. But so I think, overall, for me, when I went to school 300 years ago, email wasn't out yet. It actually came out more a couple of years after I came out of college, right? So actually being an English major and learning how to really write and synthesize words into a written format kind of became a really big deal. And it doesn't matter what you're writing, but your ability to articulate your point, especially on paper or on screen, actually became a more important and a very useful trait. And then the other thing I would say about school is, for me personally, it was more about what I learned about everything that was associated with going away to college, as much, if not more than potentially what I learned in the classroom. And how when I worked in team groups or certain classes, and really just taking as much advantage of the environment and focusing a little bit on it, broadening my horizons, rather than putting myself in classes that I was just regurgitating the textbook for that test so then I can forget it in time to memorize stuff for the next test that I would then forget that. So I focused a little bit more on just, taking a lot of different classes, and I think the broadness of that helped me out. And then the last thing I would say, which is not as much about school, but just anything else, it doesn't matter where you go to college, it all really does come down to work ethic and your ability to work with other people. That to me trumps anything.
You said you got to know how to work with other people, but for your employees, how would you motivate them to keep working and working hard?
Well, the first thing is you hire well, right? Because you like to ideally not necessarily hire in your image, because I don't like to hire in my image, because I actually like to hire people that are, I believe, or smarter than me or have a different skill set than I do, because I don't want to keep hiring myself over and over, because that's not really going to do anyone any good. But if you hire right and you understand that you're bringing in people that have strong work ethics and that have personalities that are going to do well in the office, and they're going to be a positive impact on the work environment versus a negative impact or just like wallpaper, they're just there. So first you make sure that you're stocking your cupboard the right way. And then really what I find sometimes the best way to motivate people is just giving them as much autonomy as possible, letting them be